My name's Steve Ince. I'm actually a freelance games writer, so I work completely on my own, although obviously my clients hire my services as a writer to write stories and dialogue for games. I've been in the industry for 25 years, and I started out at a company called Revolution Software before turning freelance. I have done a number of things, from producer to animator to background artist. The things that companies look for in story for games is how they fit best with the interactive nature of that game. And of course, games vary so much in their nature from sort of like mass, sort of like casual games where you're talking of, kind of perhaps a more mature audience in general, to, sort of like huge, AAA games like Call of Duty. So companies look for stories that fit well with the type of game that they are creating, whether it's a first-person shooter or a casual puzzle game. I think there are things that people tend to avoid. I mean, there's a lot of perhaps human drama stuff. That if people want to create something that is more human drama, then that can be a problem. How do you create gameplay that will work with that type of story? So you have to take a different approach, and some of the big companies are not going to entertain that kind of story. But then they will define what type of story they want anyway. But I wouldn't say there were no-nos as such. It's probably, kind of things that are best avoided. I mean, you want things that, I mean, if you're writing for an action game, you want a story that's fairly high octane. And if you're writing for say a puzzle adventure, then you can write something that's maybe a bit more mysterious, and you can use the characters a bit more. But you have to be very careful how you approach that. The thing about backstory in games is that, sort of like how much it intrudes on the main story, and how much it supports it, because sometimes it can become too much. And sort of because games are so in the moment, because the player is playing as the character, as the hero, if you like, in many instances, then the story should really support that. The story should be about the here and now. Yes, you can have references to the backstory, but you've got to be careful that isn't overdone. So it's kind of like it's got to have a supporting role rather than become a really substantial part of the experience, if you like. If someone's developing a story for a game, then they have to think what they are developing it for. I mean, if they have already been taken on by a client, then obviously they must think in terms of what the client wants. They must write their story, write their characters, write their dialogue to the vision, and always work with the rest of the team in a very transparent manner. Because if you don't, then things will cause problems. If you want to try and get yourself into the industry by creating an interactive story, then keep it short. If you'll go to an interview and say to somebody, look, I've created this interactive story, then they don't want to be playing 2 hours. They want to be playing a 5-minute interactive text adventure or something that will show off the writer's skills and in an interactive way.